and then we will get started.
Okay.
Okay. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us for tonight's D&L Staff Ask Me Anything and the Towpath Trivia. We really appreciate you taking the time to join us for what we would like to be a fun and informal night with those that know us. My name is Claire Sadler. I am the Deputy Director and here at the Delaware and Lehigh National Heritage Corridor. And I'd like to very much thank all of our members, donors, and volunteers who are here this evening. And hello to our social media crowd that's streaming live on Facebook. So I have a few housekeeping items just before we get started. All participants will be put on mute as they continue to join, and you will see a little pop-up or be asked to, if you would like to unmute for asking questions. We do ask that you place any questions that you have in the live chat window, and then we will be calling on you. You'll see Kelly will be monitoring that chat window this evening. Please feel free to leave your video on or choose to turn it off. And we will have 3 rounds of trivia. We will go over how we're doing those and how that works before we get to the first round. So as many of you are well aware, being supporters and members of the D&L, the Delaware and Lehigh National Heritage Corridor is a 501c3 organization that preserves, interprets, and leverages the nationally significant history of the 165-mile transportation route for anthracite coal between Wilkes-Barre and Bristol. As you'll see here, our mission is to inspire those connections. We connect people to the enduring industrial heritage of the corridor through education and preservation of historic sites and cultural resources. We connect people to health and wellness through outdoor recreation by reclaiming the historic transportation route as the D&L Trail. And we connect towns and cities to opportunities for economic development along the trail and the corridor. And we connect people to nature and the environment through our conservation and education efforts. Okay, so thanks again for joining us. And this is our plan for tonight. By the end of this little hour, we hope that you will know a little more about our team, the work we do as a nonprofit, and how we can work together with you to do great things. Staff on the call will each give very brief introductions about who they are and what they do, and then we will answer your questions. We encourage questions about all facets of the D&L, from the trail to the museum, from canals to railroads, from events to advocacy, or about our beloved coworkers, the mules. You can place your question anytime in the chat window to the right. If you know the staff member you'd like to direct it to, put that as well. And Kelly will ask you if you would like to unmute and ask your question, or she will be happy to read it from the chat window if you prefer. Between questions, we will have trivia from our museum and education team, and we will go over, as I said, those rules before that first round. And then we will end the evening briefly going over our D&L Trail Challenge and ways that you can take a next step in engaging with us at the D&L. So now I will turn it over to Kelly Federico, our Gifts and Development Manager.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kelly Federico. I'm the Manager of Gifts and Development here at the D&L. That means I'm responsible for all fundraising activities, memberships, donations, corporate partnerships, as well as special events. I see many familiar names on the screen tonight, so thank you all for joining us, all our members, our donors, our volunteers, for giving your time, talents, and treasures and everything. So yeah, I work with staff and board to ID funding priorities and opportunities. And I have a degree from Penn State in public relations. So I fit very well right in that square peg. I'm going to now throw it over to our museum director, Daphne.
Hello, everyone. I'm Daphne Mayer. I'm the Museum and Education Director for the D&L. You get a clue in the title as to what my job duties entail. I oversee our museum and education team and all of the operations of the National Canal Museum and the canal boat, the Josiah White II, and also our educational programs which span the entire D&L, including our Tales of the Towpath curriculum, our field trips, both here in Humor Park and in Freemansburg. I oversee Martha, who you'll be meeting later this evening as well, who deals with our collections and archives. So I'm going to turn things over to Brian now.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Brian Greene. I'm a dad, a husband, and an outdoor lover. And so I fit in just fine here for the D&L, working as the Director of Trails and Conservation and Data Scientist. And I get the great pleasure of working with all of our over 50 different communities that the D&L Trail passed through to help us create the best possible trail for everyone. I also manage some of our volunteer programs like Trail Patrol and Trail Tenders. So I see some familiar names on the list, and we're very happy to have you joining us tonight virtually and getting to talk more about one of my favorite subjects, the D&L Trail. So I am going to pass this on next to Miranda.
Hello, everyone. My name is Miranda Alvarez. I'm the Community Engagement Manager for the D&L. I develop, manage, and oversee all of our print and digital communications, including our weekly email, social media platforms, and our print member newsletter, which might be some familiar pieces for you all, as well as I oversee some of our volunteer coordination. I help get the word about all those opportunities and especially manage the D&L Ambassador program, which happens once a year. And I work closely with the ambassadors to help train them and equip them to spread the word and spread the information, that some of the information we'll be talking about this evening. I have a Bachelor of Arts in Media Studies and English Literature from Cedar Crest College. So I'm a local, and I'm happy that all of you could be here with us today. That said, I'm going to hand it off to Lauren Golden.
Hello all. Thank you to everyone who's joined us tonight. My name is Lauren Golden. I'm the Trail and Stewardship Manager, and my combination of education in historic preservation and professional experience as a construction project manager is, and my passion for outdoor recreation, running and biking is sort of what brought me to the D&L. So I serve as the D&L's construction project manager and historic preservation advisor. And in collaboration with the D&L Trail landowners, I help usher all the various ongoing trail development projects through the planning, engineering, construction phases, while mindfully caring for the historic resources that form the backbone of the corridor. So with that, I will pass off to Martha.
Hi, everyone. I'm Martha Capwell-Fox, and I am the historian and the archives coordinator for the National Canal Museum and the D&L National Heritage Corridor. As such, I am still, after 8 years, attempting to fill the very large shoes of Lance Metz, and also to try to figure out exactly where some of the things are that Lance acquired over time. This job fits my passion perfectly because I have a degree in American history from American University, and I have been very, very interested in our local industrial history ever since I realized exactly how important to that story Catasauqua was, because I lived there. So I'm sometimes the face of the D&L as far as going out and doing talks on historic subjects, and I have a feeling I probably have met and seen quite a few of you who are online tonight. So, by the way, I will confess to being the person who has put up what I hope are some rather challenging questions about places in the corridor. Now, who gets me back? Who gets back? Claire? Kelly?
So hopefully that gave you an overview about some of our staff and what we do here. So we were going to start the question and answer part of the evening. If you have a question, please put it in the chat. We do have a good number of pre-submitted questions that everyone sent in. Thank you so much for those, and we will get to them. If you're joining us from Facebook, please put your question in Facebook, and then we will get to it over here as well. I think that we should start with Doug Logan's question from the chat, considering one of the things that we were talking about before everyone came on board was that our mules, Hank and George, one of the interesting things about working where we do is that we have to take care of 2 mules as well as a canal boat. So Doug was asking, will we be taking passengers on the canal boat ride? And if so, when? Daphne and Claire, if you want to tag team this one.
Absolutely. It's an excellent question. It's one that we're hoping to answer very soon. We've had quite a few challenges this year in regards to getting our canal boat moving with passengers. Between the coronavirus and various other issues regarding mule care in the lock tender's house, we haven't been able to fully utilize the canal boat the way we normally do during the year. But we've gotten some good news. The last hurdle that we need to jump through is in regards to the Coast Guard. Believe it or not, we are regulated by them, even though we just go down our little stretch of 2.5 miles of canal and 6 foot of water. But we are regulated by them, and we got some good news about a regulatory issue that we need to deal with, and we're hoping that perhaps in October we might be able to carry some passengers. So we're looking forward to that.
And Daphne, right now, if they do visit the National Canal Museum, what are some of the activities that we are able to have this year?
Absolutely. So we did bring our mules, Hank and George, back from their very long winter vacation in August. So they're with us now, and we have been doing some training runs on the canal boat because we've got some new crew members as well. So we're getting them up to speed. So on Thursdays and Saturdays at noon, visitors can walk along with the canal boat, and the mule drivers will fill them in on what it's like to be a mule driver, past and present, and what it takes to operate a canal boat like ours. So there's that available. And also you can come and meet the mules also on Thursday and Saturday afternoons. So after the canal boat has done its training run, we put the mules out in a paddock in the park, and visitors can come up, and we have one of our crew members out there with pieces of their harness and examples of what we feed them, and you can learn all about Hank and George and how we care for them. So that's going on as well. And we are doing talks on the boat while it's still docked on Wednesday and Saturday afternoons at 1, 2, and 3 p.m. And one of our very knowledgeable crew members tells you all about canal life and why the canals are here and what sorts of cargoes were carried. So it's not exactly a replacement for our canal boat rides, but for the time being, it's still a very interesting thing to take part in.
Great. Our next question comes from Kelly Mermello. And this one is, I think Brian probably has some interesting things to say about the first part, and then the second part, I think our trail team in general has some good tips. So the question from Kelly is, are any restrictions on e-bikes being considered? I think we'll tackle that part first, and then we'll move on to the second part of her question.
Okay, I'll take that first. So for maybe some people who don't know, there are a new emerging technology of bikes that they call e-bikes. They actually have a small electric motor in them. There are 3 different classes of them, class 1, class 2, class 3. And the class 1 ones are called pedal assist. So what it does is when you pedal the bike, there's a small motor in it that silently gives you a little boost and helps you pedal along the trail. They're super fun. I dare people to ride one without getting on them and not smiling. And we are seeing more and more of them, and they're going to be a big thing that allows more people to get out and enjoy the D&L Trail. So currently there are discussions around, you know, are these allowed, because we technically are a non-motorized trail. These things do have a motor, but they act and function exactly similar to a bicycle. And so the guidance that we are getting from DCNR and from most places is that if they are the class 1 ones that are just pedal assist, there's no throttle, they don't make noise, they essentially function the same as a bicycle, that they are allowed to be on all sections of the D&L Trail. So we are encouraging their responsible use in all along the D&L Trail.
Any other trail team members want to add anything about e-bikes? I know we do get quite a lot of questions about them. We good? So the other part of Kelly's question was, how do we better communicate trail etiquette to new users? As we know, we're seeing tons of new trail users out there. So what are some of the tips and ways that we can welcome people into the trail community?
I'll also start off with that one first. I think there's a lot of different things that we can do. Here at the D&L, we are actively trying to put out the message of what it means to be a good trail user and how to have proper trail etiquette. You know, travel at safe speeds, to alert people when you're coming up to them. You know, travel on the right, pass on the left. If you're stopped, you know, stop off the trail. You know, always pay attention to others around you, keep your pet on your leash. You know, really it's about being nice and sharing the trails with others. So we are constantly trying to share that message through our website, through our social media channels, through our in-person different interactions. A great way that we do it is through our trail patrol. These are members of the public who are volunteers who help us serve as ambassadors on the trail and demonstrate good trail etiquette. And so if you are passionate about this, we'd love to have you be a volunteer in the formal trail patrol program. But even if you don't want to do that, you know, you can take a friend out, or you see somebody new, you can kind of hopefully take them under your wing and kind of hopefully show them about proper trail etiquette. And you know, because these are learned things. And yes, as we get new people, we need to welcome them into the D&L Trail family. And we need to help them learn about the different ways that they can safely use the trail.
Great, thank you. Anyone have anything to add to trail etiquette tips? Lauren?
Something I try to remind myself when I'm out on the trail and someone is not being mindful is I compare it to my driving experiences. And people who are outside breathing fresh air and exercising tend to have a lot more endorphins, right, than sitting in their car commuting to work. And so while, you know, it's always unfortunate when someone passes you driving erratically because they have road rage, it's sort of the same as on the trail. And so I just kind of, you know, figured maybe they're having a bad day, and be patient with them and get out of their way, and maybe look for opportunities, as Brian mentioned, to mindfully, politely say, hey, slow down, or not, depending, and maybe to teach a friend.
I have one small thing to add to that real quickly, is that we do also have bike bells now for the Link Trail Network. And so even though COVID is keeping us from being as face-to-face as we'd like to be with events. We are working on finding unique ways to get them out to people because it's a great way to teach them by providing the tools. So, Kelly, do we want to move to the first trivia?
I was gonna say, I think it's time for a round of trivia.
Okay.
So this is how trivia will work. We are going to post a historic photo from somewhere in the corridor. If you know where the photo was taken, use the raise your hand function. The first person to raise their hand will ask to be unmuted and answer the question. And then if that person gets it wrong, we'll just go down the line to who answered second and third. Sorry that the social media crowd does not have that raise your hand feature, but we hope that it's like Jeopardy and you play along and yell at the screen until someone answers it. So we're gonna do 3 rounds of this. We'll do prizes for each round. And each round will be a $25 gift certificate for the D&L online store or the National Canal Museum shop. It could be used in both places. So Claire, if you want to put up that first question, I will watch for hands.
1 second, Kelly, we do have a question and I wanted to ask the same thing. Could you go through exactly where the raise your hand feature is for those that don't spend all day on Zoom like we do at the D&L these days?
Absolutely, yes. So if you go over to, there we go. Oh no.
If you go to the participants, right,
Yes.
most people, it'll be on the bottom of your screen. You'll see with your mute, your stop video, that sort of thing. There should be a participants.
Yes, and there is a more, yes, more, is that what we want?
If you click on the participants down at the bottom, yes, there's a more. I'm used to using the more, but I'm seeing clapping.
On mine, it's on the left side. You don't
Is it on the left side, Doug? And are you
I see
on a computer?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry
But
about that, guys.
It might be under more.
Okay. So, so yes, under the participants list, and probably differs a little bit based on what you're on, but hopefully everybody has found that. I see Barb has, so that's good. Okay, so I am going to go to the next slide here. Okay, Kelly. So we are asking folks to take any guesses as to where this is at. No guesses? Oh, there we go.
Maybe a hint or
I see Jacqueline's got her hand up.
we have a hand up.
Where was the previous one?
The previous one we actually didn't talk through. It was just an intro, but let's we'll cover this one and then we will talk about that one.
It's Mike Albanese.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, is it Chain Dam?
Good guess.
Is it the Canal Lock House in Easton?
This one is not. This is actually in the Delaware Canal region.
All right.
Good guess.
So the Delaware Canal region would be south of Easton.
Don't be shy. We're a friendly group.
Oh, all right, Doug.
Yeah, is that Groundhog Lock?
Further south than that.
Did you hear me?
Yes.
We did.
Notice the body of water in the kind of left of the picture and the next body of water that is beyond the house, which, by the way, is a lock tender's house.
And if you didn't hear Daphne, she did say farther south than Groundhog Lock.
Way farther south.
Martha, can you give another hint?
Way farther south.
Doug, give another guess, Doug?
Yeah, is it New Hope? The outlet lock at New Hope?
Further south than that.
Oh,
I see Barb.
Let's- No
Can you hear me now?
person,
Yes.
Can
no
you hear
living
me?
person has seen this.
I think it might be the outlet lockdown at Bristol.
Close. I think close enough. We need to give it to her.
Yes, I was
Oh,
gonna say,
fantastic.
I definitely would give that to Barb.
Barb, I'm gonna email you at the email that we have for you and get in touch about your gift certificate.
Oh, thank you.
And so here is the answer for you.
If you've been to Bristol anytime recently, this is the intersection of Pond Road and the road that leads down into Basin Park. It's totally obliterated. Block 1 is totally obliterated in Bristol.
All right.
Thank you. Good job, Barb, and thanks, Martha.
Yes, good job.
So let's go back to some of our questions. Again, if you do have any, please put them over in the chat. It looks like we do have a question from Facebook. It's another question about e-bikes. So the follow-up question about e-bikes is, what about e-bikes with throttles that are being used by disabled people as an other powered mobility device? They cannot always pedal depending upon their health at the moment and may need the throttle to start off and to get home in the event of a health issue.
I can take that one. So if any motorized vehicle, whether it's an electric scooter or a wheelchair, is used as a mobility device by law, those are allowed.
Great. I will, next question. Let's see. This is a question from Sharon Warner, one of our ambassadors. Hello, Sharon, how are you? She received some questions from some bikers. Brian, this might be a good one for you as your familiarity with the Delaware Canal State Park region. If there can be restroom facilities at Tinicum. Any update on that situation?
Yeah, so several of our trailheads along the D&L Trail with the COVID situation, they traditionally would have bathrooms there, but they have been closed down generally due to a lack of staff ability for cleaning. And so I believe Tinicum is one of the ones that fell into this. Unfortunately, Tinicum was also one of our few trailheads during the COVID time that got completely closed. Bucks County closed all of their county parks during the COVID time period. So we are seeing some locations that have not fully reopened all of the services. And so there is a little bit of patience here as we are still working with a lot of our landowners to try to get everything back up to speed.
Great. The next couple of questions deal with some trail project statuses. The first one comes to us from Steve Fantina. Hi, Steve, is here on there. He would like an update on the trail from Allentown to Northampton. Any progress there?
Yes. So my answer would be long-winded. So I will start the long answer to say, if you go to the D&L's blog, we had a town hall similar to the one that we're having tonight on August 18th. And we talked about the first two projects in that, what we refer to as the Lehigh Valley Gap, that will be moving to construction in 2021. One of them pending funding. That's what the town hall was about. Additionally, the next installment of the Dirt on the Trail will detail essentially those two first construction projects in the bigger context of the gap, and kind of break down how we're approaching the gap, where we're at with each particular section. I can tell you that the gap will get constructed or improved over the next long number of years, with roughly 10 or possibly 12 construction projects, many partners, many millions of dollars. So Rome wasn't built in a day, but we are making good progress. And just the fact that I can say that it'll be 10 to 12 projects, and we've broken it down into a pretty cohesive series of steps, is huge progress in terms of planning compared to where we were a year or two ago. So I'm proud of that. Check out that video of the August 18th town hall for construction progress, and stay tuned for the upcoming Dirt on the Trail for more context.
And great. And Lauren, I'm going to have another one for you. This is from Dean Hauer. There's a parcel of land that is for sale. It's adjacent to the railroad bed that Mark Jandl bought. Would be perfect for a future trailhead. This land is just south of the Race Street Bridge. Has anything been done to acquire this land?
Hi, Dean. Thanks for your question. So when you reached out to me about this previously, I did reach out to Lehigh County and pass off the information. And in concept, they agree with you. But like everything else with trail development, the devil's in the details. And what Lehigh County is currently trying to work out is precisely how the trail would be connected between that particular section of railbed and the Race Street Bridge, and whether or not that particular parcel could play a part depending on how that connection happens. And so they're exploring it, and if the details work out, they are looking to pursue that. But again, they're doing a little further exploration before they pull the trigger on the purchase.
Okay. Do we want, Kelly, you want me to switch to trivia here?
I was going to say, yep, I think it's a time for another round of trivia.
Okay, so this one is in the Lehigh Valley region. So at least you can center yourself to the Lehigh and Northampton County section. I see Barb raised her hand right away. So go ahead, Kelly, I'll let you take it from here.
Right, please.
Great.
Is Barb able to unmute herself?
Yes.
Okay, there you go, Barb.
Well, it looks like the area right around Lehigh Gap there, where the Aquashikla Creek comes through, and they had a lock there, and then they had the aqueduct that took the creek, and the canal went over it. That's what it looks like to me.
Martha, would you like to be answering these? I know you have audio, some audio crackling tonight, but if you want, you can go ahead and lead this.
Oops.
Do we still
Further
have?
downstream, sorry.
That's okay.
Further downstream than Lehigh Gap. I'll give you a hint because one thing I discovered just this morning when I took the today picture is that the left-hand wall of this lock is still visible. And anybody that's familiar with a river access might recognize this. No?
Feel free to take guesses.
Yes.
Piggybacking on Martha's comment, that wall that's still visible, Martha, am I correct in saying it's been adaptively reused to support something else?
Yes, that's right. Yes. Yes. Needless to say, the buildings are gone. Yes, the whole area has been adaptively reused.
Any other guesses on an outlet lock location?
This would be not terribly familiar probably to many people who cycle. This is in the middle of one of the gaps. And it's one of the gaps that has just been impeded so badly by a series of bridge constructions?
Does no one want to take a bat at this one?
Okay. Ava Vista Flowers near Birch Creek. I don't even know where that is. Where is Ava Vista? Is that up north? Okay, I think we may have stumped everyone. No, not near Hope Road.
Another good guess.
Another good guess. Yeah, and that was an outlet lock too, but.
Okay, I have one final hint and we'll see if this helps, but it's at a trailhead that actually has lock in the name.
Good hint.
Oh, I think we might have stumped folks. Should I head to the next slide to show them?
Yes, I guess so. Anybody recognize Kimmett's Lock? You'd have to be a boater or Lauren to be real familiar, but that wall there is that left-hand wall of the lock. The area's been drastically altered, like what hasn't, but right in the center where there's that bit of tree hanging down, that is where the miter gate was recessed into the wall in that previous picture. The giveaway that this is a lock wall is the remains of the slots where the furring strips, for want of a better word, were attached to the walls, and then the wood boards were put over top of it so the boats wouldn't get scratched on the stonework. But, yeah.
Thank you, Martha. And I'm very sorry for folks that are having trouble hearing us with some audio issues tonight.
Yes, for those who,
that includes me.
For those who aren't familiar with this particular location and could use some help wayfinding, that particular wall has been adaptively reused to support active railroad bed. And that railroad bed goes right underneath the new American Parkway Bridge that connects downtown Allentown to Eastside Allentown. And you can see a little bit of the American Parkway Bridge in the distance there beyond the railroad trestle.
So if we're ready for some more staff questions, the next couple ones deal with some trip planning, some questions about tips and tricks to exploring the D&L Trail. This one is from Sylvia Ascarelli. Any tips on where you can leave your car if you want to do an overnight ride? Brian, Claire, Lauren, you want to take into this?
I can start off on this because this is the question that people call me up and ask me about. Yes, this is a little bit of a challenge. And now as we get people wanting to do longer and longer trips and do overnights on the D&L Trail, it's coming up and I get phone calls about this. So the vast majority, almost all of the D&L trailheads are only dawn from dusk. Technically, you're not allowed to park your car overnight there. There are a few like at Jim Thorpe at the Carbon County lot, like it's a paid location. You can pay for multiple days and leave your car there overnight. But the majority of them are not. So what a lot of people will do is they will try to plan their trip in a way that can utilize like a private parking lot. So for example, like you wanted to start or end your trip in Bristol, there is a SEPTA park and ride right next to the trail that you can leave your car, travel up, and then travel back. Oftentimes people will either start their trip or maybe end their trip at like a hotel or like a bed and breakfast near the trail. And so then they just arrange with that private business to park their car and leave it there, and most of the places are fine. I've even had some people who do the who will bike the trail for many days. They'll find like a local church that's right nearby and say, hey, I'll make a small donation if you let me park my car here on Tuesday through Friday, and use it. So they're unfortunately not most of the trailheads, but there are lots of places that are generally easily accessible right by that you can find with a little bit of looking around.
We have a question from Barb.
I was just going to make the comment that I know people park overnight at the Lehigh Gap Nature Center with permission from the center, and that's free.
Does anyone else have any tips about overnight parking? Anything that they like to do? I have this next question I get from members quite a bit, and we talked about it a little bit earlier. But how are Hank and George, our mules?
Well, Hank and George, they did enjoy an extended vacation at the farm that they winter at in Williams Township. So they were doing very well there, and our staff were visiting them. But we did bring them back to the park late in August, and we were very pleased to see them. They were looking fantastic. They're really, really healthy. And they seem to enjoy being back and having lots of attention paid to them by staff and visitors. So they're happy and they're healthy, and they're getting a little bit of exercise with those training runs I mentioned on the boat. So we're so pleased to have them back. I will say that Hank's been a little bit feisty since he's returned. He's run away from us on a couple of occasions, including today, as our crew were taking him back up to the stable area. But other than that, they're doing really well, and we're really pleased to have them with us.
Great. I know we're all very thankful to have them back. It feels a little more close to normal having them back in the park. This question is also for museum education. So Daphne, Martha, it's a little bit about the story we tell. It came from Mike Albanese, and I'm not sure, I saw him earlier, but I don't know if, I think he may have jumped off. But the question is about how do we better incorporate early American industry along Lehigh Corridor like steel? And I think Trail and Museum too, if you're, this is kind of one of those questions where the intersection comes between our different departments, and we can see how we approach things from different angles.
Martha, do you want to tackle that one?
Yeah, actually, I think we'll be able to start interpreting a lot more of the history of iron, because that's really the significant development in the corridor, was when iron began to be smelted using anthracite coal in 1840 in Catasauqua. And the subsequent explosion of iron furnaces happened first in the Lehigh Valley with the furnace in Allentown, and then of course Glendon right in the park. And we do have some pretty good interpretation about Glendon in Hugh Moore Park, which is where that was. But I think when we start, and we've already talked a bit, Lauren and I have talked a bit with some of the folks who were weighing in from outside on the gap development, is that that's going to be a really key element, is making note of all of the significant industrial developments, not just iron, but also the cement business, which happened a little bit further up in the Northampton and Copley sides, and cement, of course. And then further up in Lehigh, Carbon County, there were also quite a few furnaces that hopefully we'll be able to memorialize. They're of course all gone now. The thing about steel is that, for the most part, now the one place we're able to address that is on the Lehigh River waterfront in Allentown when that started to become part of the trail area as well, because there was Lehigh structural steel there. But Bethlehem Steel was on the south side of the river and not the part of the trail that goes through Bethlehem, which is of course on the north side. But the industry is our story. And I think as we go along, we're going to be incorporating more and more of that part of the story, as well as the mining and railroad and canal stories.
Thank you so much, Martha. Looks like we have 2 questions from Facebook. The first one from Rich Perry has a final route. Lauren, this one is concerning our projects up north. A final route been approved from 7 Tubs to downtown Wilkes-Barre.
If I might just continue on the end of Martha's comment briefly. Something that's kind of exciting in terms of interpretation are emerging technologies, specifically apps and augmented reality. So hypothetically, an app, and I think Daphne and Brian might be working on this collaboratively, essentially an app that you can have with you while you're walking, running, biking, where blurbs of history and historic photos will emerge as you approach that particular historic site. So we're looking towards that and hoping we can embrace that and disseminate more information than traditional signage would allow us to do. Segueing to the question about Luzerne County and downtown Wilkes-Barre, we have a pretty good idea of where we think the route is going to go. Wilkes-Barre and Scranton are undergoing a joint bicycle and pedestrian plan that I'll say caught COVID and has been a little bit delayed in terms of issuing the final draft report. So we're hoping that that'll be released sometime in the coming months, and we'll be able to share the information about a little more publicly about where that route could go. So no, not yet, but we're close.
Thanks, Lauren. This next question comes from us from Facebook from Jennifer Trumbore. She asked, how can I get the cool trailhead stickers?
I think Jennifer is probably talking about our Trail Town stickers. So many places along the trail, you'll see different mile markers. And several years ago, we did one for mile 92 at Slatington, and it got kind of popular. And so some people started asking for other places. And so we made them for the majority of our communities. So you can find some of these stickers at some of our trail-friendly businesses. I know like Pocono Biking and Jim Thorpe sells the 106 for Jim Thorpe, or Lehighton Outdoor Center sells the 101 Lehighton one. You can come to the National Canal Museum and you can buy them, or you can even buy them online on our website. So if you're one of these lucky people that wins the trivia prize, you can use some of that to get you some cool stickers for the trail.
Great, thank you, Brian. We have another question from Facebook from Johanna Hyde Meeker, which I think, Lauren, this might be a battle between Lauren and Martha. Which is older, the Lehigh Canal or Delaware Canal?
I'm going to vote that that's an easy. Martha, back me up here. Lehigh Canal. Yep. If math serves me correctly, by about 3 years.
Yeah, actually, if you want to get technical,
I think we do.
The one-way navigation that was established by constructing the 13 bear trap dams on the Lehigh was completed in 1820. And the two-way navigation that was begun in 1827 was completed in 1829. But technically there too, the Delaware was not fully operational until our hero, Josiah White, rebuilt the entire canal and got it open in 1834. So basically 5 years. 5 years older in terms of full operation.
Great, thank you,
And then
Martha.
the Delaware closed sooner too.
So we are going to move on to our final round of trivia. Hopefully that someone will know the answer to this, and it'll be a good way to end the evening. So the picture is up firsthand.
If you've been paying attention to the National Canal Museum's Facebook page, on Wednesdays we've been posting what we call Way Back Wednesday posts.
Oh,
And this one was one of those. So if you were paying attention, maybe you might know the answer.
I think it's Durham Furnace near Groundhog Walk, right? No?
Nope.
Well, we're up in this is the anthracite region for this one. So we've moved north.
So that would be either in Carbon or Luzerne counties is what we talk about as the anthracite region.
This is another one that's tricky because the existing conditions are very, very different from what's depicted in this photo.
Yes.
Martha, is it accurate to say that this is on one of the spurs of the trail? This is along one of the spurs, correct?
Is still in existence.
I'll give a
Today,
hint.
this could be a very refreshing location where you might take a little break from being out on the trail.
You may notice a lock tender's house that's sort of hidden behind that lock tender's house is no longer there. The outlet lock is still there that you can visit.
We have a guest from Facebook, actually. I'll get into we have Jennifer Trumbore, Glenn Anoko. No, not Glenn Anoko. Anyone else from Facebook that knows the answer, feel free. I'll get your email address.
Anybody got to search our Facebook page?
Yeah, just DM me, as they say, right?
We welcome other guesses. You can keep the guesses coming until we've covered the entire anthracite region if you want.
I'll give another hint. So there is the covered bridge in the foreground, and just beyond it, there is another small bridge. That's where a tributary flows into this river. So on a spur where a tributary flows into the river adjacent to an outlet lock.
Guest from Mitch, Freemansburg.
North.
Yes, up in Carbon or Luzerne County for this section.
We also have William Adams from Facebook, Weisport.
Getting closer.
Carbon Furnace from Andrew Stroud.
Okay. Carbon Furnace in Perryville.
Is that correct?
That's correct. Someone had
Congratulations, Andrew.
Andrew.
Nicely done.
Andrew did. Yes. And that's what's there now.
Great. Well, that concludes our rounds of trivia. I hope everyone has enjoyed it this evening. We're going to start to wrap up the evening. If you have any questions, do throw it in the chat. We'll get to it. We'll follow up with you afterwards. So I'm going to, I believe, Claire, it's back to you.
Well, we'll go to Miranda, but I wanted to just note that in the chat, Andrew, I love that you're pointing out that the picture is in Martha's new book, Geology, Geography, and Genius. So yes, for anyone that had that handy, that probably helped a little bit with the trivia. And if you're interested, that is yet another thing that is available on the D&L store. So yes, I will flip to Miranda. You want to talk a little bit about our challenge?
Thank you, Claire. Yes, so for all of our walkers, bikers, and runners out there, we have a new challenge for you all in support of the D&L. This is going to be our largest fundraiser for the year, and we're challenging all of our walkers, bikers, and runners to take on half marathon distances over the course of October. So as a lot of you may have seen, we had to cancel our in-person D&L Heritage Half Marathon, but we wanted to provide a really fun and unique way to raise funds for the D&L and really keep up the momentum with all the new trail usership. So we thought that a challenge would be the perfect way. So again, over the course of October, for our runners and walkers, you can take on 13.1 miles a week. And if you complete the challenge, you will receive a finisher's medal, and some cool swag is included with your registration. And there's also t-shirts and swag available in addition to your registration. And our bikers are taking on double the distance. Registration is open through October 15th, and all proceeds help the programming that we talked about today, our museum, the D&L Trail, our staff who are super dedicated to the mission. And so we hope some of you will take on the challenge with us.
Barb, did you have a question?
No, in the last trivia, I was going to say it was Perryville, so no question.
You're quite the trivia ringer, Barb. We'll have to
Thank you, Miranda, for covering that. And I do see, and thank you to Rochelle. I see your comment in the chat about signing up, and we're really glad that there are people embracing this to support the D&L with the Trail Challenge. I can tell you that the trio on the screen at the moment, we are challenging ourselves to do the walk, and so I'm hoping that my little guys there in the picture are gonna embrace the fact that mommy wants to walk this challenge and complete our half marathon once a week. So just wanted to cover a few other things. So I'm going to turn it over to Kelly on ways that you can get engaged. More engaged.
So I'm just going to go over some current volunteer opportunities that we have. And we do have some volunteer opportunities with the Trail Challenge. If you've not signed up already, please consider signing up for the Trail Challenge and maybe bring along some friends. We know that we're a friendly bunch, so you can also spread the word on social media, and we would need some help with event calendar promotions, community calendars. You can contact us if you'd like to learn how to spread the word in your neck of the woods. If you enjoy running or walking or cycling and you're involved in those communities, we'd love to have you do some outreach if you'd like for the challenge. If you like to go to local businesses, we do have some flyers that we can give you to give to local businesses to promote the challenge. And there's also opportunities to reach out for businesses for support or for coupons. In November, we'll also have this will come via Sign Up Genius. We'll have in the office unpacking and sorting inventory, packing medals, shirts, and swags for people that participated in the challenge. You can also volunteer for next year's race. And we're also looking for people to join the 2021 planning committee. So if you're interested in any of that, feel free to reach out to any of us if you'd like to learn more and get involved specifically with the D&L Trail Challenge or the 2021 Half Marathon. We would love to have you. We talked a little bit about some of our other volunteer opportunities like trail tenders, trail patrols. patrol. You can also help out with some of our facilities, painting, weeding, taking care of our boat. Miranda talked a little bit about our ambassador program, and then I saw that some of our ambassadors are here. If you're interested in joining that fantastic program, send Miranda an email. I would urge you to join us as a member. Membership provides a foundation of financial support that we can do the work that we need to do day to day. And you also get unlimited admission to the National Canal Museum and discounts in the stores and all D&L events. We also are a Smithsonian affiliate, so we offer a $20 Smithsonian membership add-on, and that includes reciprocal admission at participating locations, the Smithsonian Magazine, as well as discounts. Another way to have an impact is to make a donation to something you're passionate about. You can designate a gift to the trail in your region or the National Canal Museum. And as always, gifts to the annual fund are incredibly useful. Just some upcoming events that we have going on. This weekend is Pirate Day, and we have our new Kids on the Canal program. Next Thursday, the 26th of September, is the 1-year anniversary of the Mansion House Bridge opening. I know that many of you were there for the opening last year. We'd love to have you come join and celebrate 1 year of the bridge being open. We are co-hosting an in-person event with Carbon County Chamber. Brian is leading a bike ride from the bridge to the Weisport Trailhead. And at the same time, Martha is doing a walk from the bridge to the Waylock. And you can find registration on the Carbon County website. Next Saturday is also Bike Your Park Day, and we are doing a free round trip ride. It's about 10.5 miles on the trail, separate from vehicle traffic. Brian is leading that bike ride as well. It's family friendly. It's suitable for people of all ages, any type of bicycle. We will be following all PA health requirements of wearing a mask and socially distancing to remain 6 feet apart. It is free, but pre-registration is requested. We're gonna meet at Riverview Park at 9:30, and we should be wrapping up at 11 a.m. If you head to the DelawareandLehigh.org website on the calendar, you'll find more details about this. We talked about Meet the Mules. If you'd like to come and say hi to Hank and George, Thursdays and Saturdays in Humor Park from 1:30 until 4. And on the trail project side, we are gathering letters of support for the North Catasauqua project to present to elected officials. And we will be collecting them through the end of this month. So if you've not already written your letter of support for this project, we're going to be sharing a link that you can fill out to generate a letter that will be sent to all of your elected officials. We know that our members and our donors and our volunteers really get things done. So this kind of community support is incredibly important to getting these projects funded and completed. So watch for that when we send the follow-up after this evening. And then thank you all for giving your time, talent, and treasures. We could not do the work that we do without you. With that, I will hand the floor back to Claire to wrap everything up.
Thank you, Kelly. And yes, just once again, I did want to reiterate to everyone, we know that time is so precious right now. We're glad you joined us tonight. And while we very much wish that we could be doing this in person, we haven't yet gotten to that opportunity. And we will, if these are something that are interesting to folks as a way to stay engaged well and get to know more about each other, we will continue to have these. So we look forward to doing more of them with everyone. And this definitely was our first Ask Me Anything. So we will be sending around a survey. We'd love to hear your feedback on what we can do to improve future events like this. So thank you so much for your time this evening.